Abdalhadi Alijla is the executive director for the Institute for the Middle East Studies in Canada. He now joins me from Gothenburg in Sweden. Many thanks for talking to us, Abdalhadi. Now, I've been speaking to many journalists today who have been speaking about Khashoggi's work. They say while he was critical of the Saudi prince, he was also one of the biggest defenders of the kingdom. He was always very sympathetic, very proud. Does it make sense to you that the Saudis would kill him in this way and in the brutal way that some have described?
Well, I think it's a very crucial question to ask why they killed him in principle. I mean, there are so many critiques for Saudi Arabia and the Saudi Arabian policies. So there are different theories, and all what have been said is just speculation. We don't have, and there is no any official Turkish statements regarding if he has been killed or how he has been killed. So it's still and remains speculations. But let me put it this way. I think his critique, Khashoggi, and also his work as a previous advisor to the Saudi intelligence would make sense that they wanted something to hide, and that the Khashoggi have such information or data about the past of his while he was working with the Saudis, that they don't want these informations to go into a book or into the general public in the future or now. So the question is also that the Saudis, if it's true that he has been killed in the consulate, that means they are sending message to the critiques and that their hands is long and they can kill, abduct, and also forcibly kidnap their citizens in Saudi Arabia and also outside of Saudi Arabia, which make it very clear that the brutality of the regime or the Saudi regime that can be represented by the policies of Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
This, of course, is a delicate situation for Turkey. The Turkey-Saudi relationship already strained over several issues. What will be weighing on Turkey's authorities' minds as they move forward on this issue?
Well, let me also Turkey has dealt with the more serious questions and diplomatic questions more than this kind of things, like disappearing of journalists or either killing of a Saudi citizen in their land. Well, the Saudis, the Turkish authorities will not go further because they don't want any strains in the Saudi-Turkish relationships, but also because the kind of crisis that can happen if the Turkish wanted to go further and sever the relationship with the Saudis will have a very harmful and impactful way. The economic investments of the Saudis or the Saudis' allies in Turkey is very high. And if the diplomatic ties between Turkey and Saudi Arabia is going to be severed, then it will have an impact on the Turkish economy. But also at the same time, the Turkish are nowadays planning to have to go back to the zero problem with neighbors, which means that Saudi Arabia is a very regional and impactful power in the Middle East, and Turkey wouldn't go further to have hostility with the Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
At the same time, let me put it this way: the Qatari crisis also has put some strains on the issue, and all the media attention that have been happening in the last 2 days is mostly coming from an Arab media and non-official personals, either from Turkey or either from other countries.
Okay, that's interesting. Abdalhadi Alijla, the Executive Director for the Institute for the Middle East Studies in Canada. Many thanks for talking to us.